here, and I'm back for another video on Harry Potter. For this one, let's talk Boggarts. So, Boggarts were always an interesting thing to me when they were first introduced. What could they do? Obviously, they can turn into anything you're afraid of, but what if you're not afraid of anything? What if you're afraid of Boggarts? What would it look like? Because obviously, they don't really have a shape. They're shapeless. And even when Mad-Eye Moody sees them, he sees his fear, and he sees that his fear obviously can't fit in this drawer, so it's Boggart. So, what if you're afraid of Boggarts? So, Boggarts play off your fear. They like dark and enclosed places. Dark and enclosed places. And it's just, they can turn into anything. And let's say a muggle has a Boggart and it turns into like some murdered psycho. The Boggart can kill you. But for Harry in the maze, when it turns into a Dementor, the Patronus charges at the Boggart and it stumbles. That's how he knows it's not a Dementor. So, can it suck out your soul? Let's answer these questions. Let's start with not Dementors. So, let's say your Boggart is some murder that's been going around your neighborhood or your city or something like that. It can turn into them and it can hurt you. It can, if it has, say it's a person with a knife for some reason and this Boggart charges after you, it can hurt you. Now, let's talk Dementors. Harry doesn't really feel the effects of a Dementor, like if it was a real one, yet he can still feel the effects. But the Patronus doesn't affect it, and it can't really suck Harry's soul out by kissing him. What's their limit? Maybe it depends on the creature or the thing that it's turning into. So, let's say that you're afraid of Dementors, for example, and it turns to a Dementor. You'll feel the effects of it. I mean, Harry did, and he still passed out, and he still eating chocolate, because it still turns into that thing, but there's only so much it can do as that thing. Here's what I think happens. It turns into the thing, and depending on what it is, it gets some of the qualities of it, but it can't completely do everything that it can. I think it still has limitations. So it's going to still affect Harry, and the Dementor's still going to affect you, and you're still going to need chocolate because it is turning into a Dementor. However, I think that the kiss won't affect you. I mean, maybe it kind of will. Maybe you'll still pass out, but I don't think you'll be completely soulless being like if a real one did, because of how they affect Harry. And they still affect him and all that, but real Dementors affect him more. And if you look at the one in the maze, Harry saw it, cast the Patronus at it, it stumbled, and Harry's like, Boggart. And then he casts Ridiculous. So it didn't really affect him like a real one would. He didn't feel the coldness that it would usually bring. He didn't feel the passing out like he would usually feel. So this is why my theory is they do become the thing, just not completely. It still has limitations because it's not created or born that being that it's transforming into. It's just turning into it. So it can still do some of the stuff, but it's not going to be as effective. Now, for different things, obviously that changes. Like we were just talking about Dementors, it can't suck your soul out or anything like that. But if it turns into a serial killer or something, it can hurt you. Because there really is no limitation to that. If you have a serial killer holding a knife, it's charging at you with the knife, it can hurt you with it. So it's limited on some things. I think more on the magical being side of it than the non-magical. Let's talk about something fun with, if you were afraid of a Boggart, like, you don't know what you're afraid of, and you're afraid of what this Boggart's going to turn into, so therefore you become afraid of the Boggart itself. What would it look like? I had thought about this question for so long, and so I was like, well, maybe it would look like this, maybe it would look like this, and I was still kind of confused. And so what I did was I sent out a text, in a group text, with my family, and I was like, I have a question for you guys. If you're afraid of Boggarts, what would it turn into? My brother-in-law, he came up with a brilliant answer. I love this answer. He said that if you're afraid of a Boggart, it'll turn into whatever you think a Boggart will look like. And I was like, genius. That is genius. I'm no longer questioning what a Boggart would turn into if you're afraid of one, because that right there is the best answer. So basically for me, if I was afraid of a Boggart, I would kind of picture it as this darkish mist, like this threatening dark black like mist. That's what I would picture a Boggart to look like, because they don't really have shape until they take the shape of what you're afraid of. So I would kind of picture it as just like this misty but dark, because it's a dark creature mist. That's what I picture it as. So that would be my Boggart. That's what, if I was afraid of Boggarts, that would be what I would picture it as. So basically, if you're afraid of Boggarts, it still won't have a shape except for what you think it looks like. So for mine, you could say I'm afraid of the unknown, and that's why my Boggart looks like a dark mist. While in reality, I'm kind of nervous of the unknown and I like knowing stuff. For this theory, let's say that Boggarts are my biggest fear, and it was a dark mist. That would not be me being afraid of the unknown. That would just be me, this is what a Boggart looks like. I'm afraid of Boggarts, this is what a Boggart looks like in my eyes. So, whatever you imagine a Boggart to look like is what it would become. So say you think a Boggart's gonna look like a person in a black cloak, kind of looking like a Dementor, basically. It wouldn't be a person in a black cloak you're afraid of. It would be a Boggart. That's just how you picture a Boggart to look. I loved his answer to that question. It was genius, and I was like, suddenly, I'm no longer questioning this. It's already been answered. It makes sense. It was genius. So that's just his, I should say. I have to give him credit, because I'm the one that was like struggling to figure out what it would look like, and he came up with it. Theory on what a Boggart would look like, and also that was what mine would look like. And Boggarts in general are just, they're so fascinating to me. I would love to learn about them, because I read up on the fact file a lot and everything, and I'm like, ridiculous. Of all things, ridiculous gets rid of them, and laughter finishes them off, which is amazing, because laughter is the best medicine. Anyway, my itch. To sum it all up, Boggarts turn into whatever you're afraid of. Some things are more harmful than others. Some things won't do you harm at all, like Lupin and the Moon. Other things can actually hurt you. And if you're afraid of them, whatever you think they look like is what they're going to look like. And I just think Boggarts are very fascinating, and that's my theory on them. I basically said all I need to say. I'm gonna leave this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Also, I won't tell you what to do, but I like likes, so feel free to do one. Also, if you'd like, leave a comment down below. Tell me what's your Boggart, or maybe if you were afraid of Boggarts, what would it look like to you guys? I'm curious. You guys can join me on Patreon if you'd like. Also, I will see you guys next time. Bye!